I'd like to call the August 16th, 2025 Lynn Valley Lakes Board of Directors, or Board of Property Owners Association Board of Directors meeting to order. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call of directors. Wayne Scott. Terry Barnhart.
Here.
Julie Miller-Childs here. Dennis Keegan.
Here.
Dan Coleman. Do we have any visitors today? Anybody this first meeting? Anybody that wants to introduce themselves?
Hi, I'm Marlena.
Hi, Marlena. We'll talk to you. Go ahead.
Just wanted to come and see what's going on in our community.
Excellent. We'll talk to you later. I'd like approval of the July 19th, 2025 Board of Directors regular meeting minutes.
I vote that we approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Didn't get a chance with the busy week that I've had to do a president's report, so I'm just gonna kind of wing it up here. Busy week last week. We had a lot of volunteerism going on in the community. I know I've thanked them quite a few times. I went in person to try to thank everybody who worked on the projects that were going on. The big one is, the two big ones are the mailbox shelter. The lumber came in for that Friday morning. The piers were poured on Thursday, and so we will be ready to work on it Monday. Wayne's missing in action, so if you could keep an eye on Facebook as far as what our next plans that we're working on it is, I'd appreciate it. The other big project that started this week was the boat dock slips, and they were looking good. The guys were, I mean, if you want to go out and meet your community, these people, I mean, every event was fun. Great people working on it. It just was a great community event. I think brought a lot of people really close together. So this time I'm just going to do a blanket thank you to all of our volunteers, including all of our committee members. Some of them work way harder than they should have to, Doug. And then I'd also like to thank the rec committee, the real estate committee, everybody who volunteers. As far as the rec committee goes, and we'll get into this a little bit more later on, if you see decorations out and around in the community, please know that those were purchased by the rec committee in Lynn Valley Lakes. We ask that you please either contact the rec committee if you feel like you need to take them down, contact the office, but we are trying to preserve the money that we have in the bank, and to have to replace lights or decorations or anything like that is not something we want to be doing because a community member feels like they need to fix it. We'll be happy to work with you if you feel something needs to be taken care of, but please be respectful of the property here. If you noticed, if you caught on the website on my updates, I believe I had it on there. Our vending company has quit. They have left us. They will not be servicing the vending machines anymore because every week they came in and that somebody had tried to vandalize them. So we will not have vending machines here anymore. I don't think we plan to replace them at this time because there's just no point if they're going to keep getting broke into. If you see somebody doing these things, please don't hesitate to call the police. We just can't have vandalism in our community, whether it's the pools, the vending machines, the rec committee supplies, we just can't have it. So if you see somebody doing it, please call the police. That's about all I have to say because I think the rest of it will be updated up in the repairs. Dennis, do you have anything you want to say to it?
No, other than just to kind of give a shout out to Kevin for putting on the town halls. You know, it's just really good for the community. So, and all the other volunteers, but especially for helping to coordinate those.
Do we have a spillway update?
Yeah, sorry about that. We are still waiting for
still waiting for the engineer's report back. My last communication with them was that they were looking at various materials that they could demonstrate would prevent the erosion up top. At the dam safety conference, and yes, that it really is the name of it, there was a presentation by a fellow that had a poured form that fits on a grid that goes in there, and McClure had some real interest in that, and it was less than hauling in rock. So, that's a possibility that we could put something like that in there. I don't know what the delay is. They're probably busy. We ought to reach out to them.
Okay. Pam, manager's report, please.
Good morning. We had a water leak in Bathhouse 5. That's been repaired. We continue to have issues with the sewer or the septic that is on a lateral field. Every time our guys go to check it, it seems like what it is everyone's putting too much toilet paper down the toilets, or wipes.
Do we have signs that say no wipes, please use toilet paper sparingly?
Well, not toilet paper sparingly, but it does say no, do not flush stuff down the toilet that shouldn't be, yes.
Okay.
So maybe I need to put a bigger one. There's questions about the space where the camp host is located. He is in space 13. When the water project goes through, it will go on the back side of spaces, we believe 17 through 24. And then it will cut across the road and go down Holiday. So those spaces will be affected on the back side. People can still back into them, but on the back side there may be some disruption there. The visitor side or the left side of the gate's back open. Seems to be working fine. Mowing and trimming of everything out here is still ongoing. We did get a couple of kids hired on. They do need a little babysitting at times, but they did get quite a bit knocked out in the last couple days, so. The cleaning ladies will be power washing Bathhouse 2 and 5 this next week. The bucket truck that was being used for the lights that Julie's going to report on later, the fuel injector pump went out on it. Of course, it is an ancient old truck that we only spent $3,000 on. So I do not have a price yet on that part. The RV storage, is that under your report?
Go ahead.
Okay, RV storage, the gravel has been put down in the RV storage. They do need to go back out probably and do some more blading on it. It does look very nice, and we will then hopefully, I don't know, was there any discussion? We're just gonna
We'll let them park where you want to
Okay.
keep it the way it is. I
Okay.
think everybody's kind of got their spot.
Okay.
Unless we have problems, then we'll
Okay.
have to try to figure out how to mark it.
Okay.
Our plan is, though, with contractor's lot, once we get that all set up, our thoughts are currently, this is, I'm letting you guys know this now in case anybody wants to debate it, is to probably open it up similar to the RV storage lot, charge an annual fee for semi-truck drivers that want to bring their vehicles in, and that would actually be an assigned spot where they would park when they come in. And then, of course, we open it up if somebody had a piece of equipment that they wanted to park. But it would be a pay-for-storage lot, or a pay-for-parking lot per se, for the RV or the truck drivers. Because we do want them to have a place when they come home to spend some downtime. We want a place for them to park, and nobody should have to go get them at 3 o'clock in the morning from wherever. Yeah, Doug?
And how do you access it?
How do you access the contractor's lot? Just right up by maintenance, there's,
By the water tower or?
Yes.
no,
It's north of the Quonset, the old horse barn.
Between the lake shop and the maintenance building.
yeah.
The gravel, start this next week.
Okay,
It looks like the weather's gonna be pretty decent, so
Great.
hopefully be able to get that done.
Does that mean you're gonna prohibit parking up in front?
yes. Because that is a member, you know, that is for our members. I don't know why any other truck driver would come in and just park in Lynn Valley Lakes. I don't know how they get in here, but, you know, that is something for our members, and we want to be able to help our members that are on the road for 2 and 3 weeks at a time, or whatever it is, to be able to come home and have a relaxing visit and have a place to park their truck with, like I said, without driving to a truck stop somewhere to have to pick them up.
So 3 weeks ago, there was a person that parked up by where they're building the mailbox, and that was a guest of someone. How are you gonna handle that?
She's gonna have to have a spot. I mean, either that or she'll have to pay for an annual spot, so it's gonna be up to her whether,
Can there be a, temporary or weekly fee
we'll have to
also?
we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah,
You know, we might be able to have a guest spot where they come in and pay per night or something.
okay.
Maybe at the front entrance of it. I mean, I don't know, is there a entrance to that contractor's lot from Mulery?
No.
That's what I was trying to ask.
Do we really want
Come in the
semis
gate
coming
and-
through?
Yeah, you have to come into the
Right,
gate.
they're gonna go through the three-way and,
Yeah.
turn left and go back up to it.
That's something, you know, we haven't discussed how much we're gonna charge. My thoughts were, this is just my thoughts, we haven't discussed it or voted on it, but we would charge similar to what the RV lot storage is. Just, you know, $150 a year. I know to some people that sounds like a lot, but when we stored our camper, which that's storage for long-term, we stored our camper, we paid $168 a month.
Sounds like a bargain to me, actually.
I mean, the convenience of parking here, and they don't have to pay it, they can park at
Somewhere
a
else.
truck stop and somebody can go get them. I mean, it's, you know. And I think the gentleman that was parked here, I think that was her fiance. So I don't know, I mean, I don't know, but, we'll have to talk about it more. It's up for discussion, so since you've been told, it's up for discussion. If you have any comments, please don't hesitate to email us on it. Pam, do you have anything?
Oh, yeah, I've got one
Okay.
more. I do have a lead on a road grader operator. He has many years' experience operating a road grader. He's actually the gentleman that's been hauling the gravel in for us at the
Oh, great.
RV storage lot. So I'll be talking to him more about that this week. Evergy was gonna help us to get the flag back on the flagpole out here. The truck that they brought, however, would not go high enough.
Oh.
So hopefully they'll bring a bigger truck out and help us with that. We had a mower down, parts have come in, spindle was bent, 2 new weed eaters were purchased. The shelter house, I'm glad we're moving the mailboxes, even though we still need to keep an eye on it for the mud situation when it rains, but we had a gentleman that did slip on some mud, which we need to for sure do better on keeping an eye on that after it rains, but also I would not suggest if you wear flip-flops or slides when you go get your mail on any concrete. Even the floor here, if it's been raining outside and you come into this floor, we had a tornado siren going off one year, and a lady had flip-flops on, and she came in the door and down she went, so. Water and sewer, we have a water truck, the kingpins and steering shaft needs to be replaced. I do not have a price yet on that. That's the truck with the plastic water tank on it. The sewer truck with the aluminum tank had a U-joint go out. That's been replaced. I've established to pump the porta pots at the boat ramp on the 1st and 15th of each month. And that area has all been mowed and weed eated. The drivers are marking the water and sewer tank lids, which the black lids are sewer, and if you have a white lid for your water tank, they've been spray painting those blue also, besides writing your information on there. And we had to go purchase new tags for the sewer trucks because they had been beaten up, ate up, what have you, so. The water plant, we had a high service pump go out. The repair or the rebuild on it is going to be between $10,000 and $12,000. I think a new pump for that would be around 18. The turbidimeter controller also quit, and that's around $4,000. Golf course maintenance. Sorry, I meant to tell you all, I do meet with the supervisors every Wednesday. So that's where I'm getting what I'm telling you all about. This is where the discussion during that meeting, so. The irrigation, the new controller for the irrigation system, the control box was received. I believe it is still sitting in Andrew's shop, and they are supposed to begin the install this coming week. Irrigation itself, they continue to work on heads and valves. They do have aerification set for September 9th and 10th. However, Andrew may have to switch one of those days for a personal matter. And then I don't know if Doug had planned on speaking about this. They're having a fishing tournament down on those days as well.
So if that switches,
Andrew's supposed to be getting with you
okay.
on that. They have upcoming tournaments scheduled for the golf course. Looks like 3 in September, 4 in October. So tournaments are doing good. The league play Sunday is couples, Tuesday's ladies. Sorry, Ron, if I'm cutting into your. The couples is on Sundays. I think they're continuing to have a good turnout for what Katie reports. Tuesday is Ladies' Day. The men's league that was meeting on or playing on Tuesday nights is now, or Wednesday night is now Tuesday, and the super seniors is on Thursday. The air conditioner at the pro shop seems to be working fine. Now they did run an extra floor vent from the downstairs unit upstairs, so I think that's helping. Because sometimes now if you walk in there, it's like a ice box, it feels like, so.
Okay.
The ice machine on top of the pop machine, which is a requirement to make the pop machine work correctly, that was repaired. That was $650. Bob Anderson continues to work on carts 1 and 4. They do need at least one motor, and they're supposed to be getting pricing. I think it's gonna be around $1,000 for the motor. Katie's looking for pricing for a net along the driving range to contain the driving range balls to the driving range instead of on the dam, but that's many thousands of dollars, so. I don't know.
Make sure she gets it in her budget for next year.
Well, I don't think it'll be able to be in her budget for next year, the way the money sounds.
We can review it.
I mean, we're looking at like $100,000.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
on
yeah,
second
many.
thought, maybe not.
So no, I can purchase a lot of driving range balls for
Yeah.
the prices she's getting.
Yeah.
We still need to get a time set for the, as you had mentioned, for the food for the employees. Evergy came out and fixed the light that's by the trash dumpster, which lights up the parking area between the pro shop and the cart barn. And Prairie View, their school, which is Lacine School District, they told Katie the other day that KSHAA is requiring courses where they play to have an AED.
Okay,
We do not have an AED
and we need
at
this
a
on.
course. So I'm gonna be looking into pricings. However, the school said they may be able to have a grant that would help to purchase one. So
Excellent.
she's gonna be checking with them as well. But
Um,
it is not a bad idea
Yeah, and if
at all,
you do
so.
check in and where do we have any AEDs?
We have one at the front office.
Okay, we might wanna get one here,
I know, we need to have one
And
here, and we need
maintenance.
down at the pro shop.
yeah, and pro shop.
And I know the fire department and police department, I don't know how many they have for sure, but they have several.
Right, we need to probably review that and check
Right.
the property over.
And then
see
we
what
also need to have, training for the employees.
Mhm.
We did it several years ago, and it's pretty self-explanatory, but we do need to have that
Right.
training. So,
Right, excellent.
I think that's it.
Nice.
Okay, Terry, treasurer's report, please. Oh,
I got a question.
go ahead.
Al Sanchez?
Yes.
Is there a scheduled maintenance plan for all POA-owned equipment?
What did he say? I'm
Or
sorry.
is there, a planned maintenance schedule for all POA equipment?
We are working on that. I have typed up a list of expectations for our maintenance supervisor and also our water and sewer supervisor. And that's, one of the main topics on that on those lists. They do keep a maintenance log on all of their equipment up there. So, we'll be working on that.
Bob does a good job at the Bill facility.
Oh, Bob does an excellent job, yes.
Anybody else? Okay, Terry?
Okay, I tried to give you guys something a little different this month with the financials. I worked with Pam on all of the budgets. You'll notice the first page, I tried to kind of explain the difference between the way the original budget revenue report was presented and what I tried to put together was a forecast for the rest of the year to kind of help us out, and see if we're gonna stay in budget, if we're gonna go over, if we're finding some savings somewhere. And you'll see the numbers look a little different, so this front page, I hope, kinda helps explain, how and why those are so different. You will see that we took quite a few, numbers out, we changed some things around. So if you do have any questions specifically on anything, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or the finance committee. Will be more than happy to walk through stuff with you. And then as you go through, you'll see that there's, I don't know, if it's maybe easier to look at the screen. You can see the top section is the forecast section and the lower section was the actual budget. And then, we tried to make adjustments. January through June were actuals pulled from P&Ls, and then July through December are what, Pam came up with for her departments for estimates to get through the rest of the year. We did not get the admin's budget worked on yet for forecasting or the security one. Rhonda had a lot on her plate and I kinda asked last minute if she could help work on that, so once we get that, I'll be happy to share that with you. And I also noticed that I tried to do another line and I guess I cut it off on the reports. But as you go through them, you're gonna see the profit and loss by all departments, which we did find that when the July reconciliation was coming through, there was a payroll and a Home Depot payment that were missed, so these numbers are a little off. So before Pam posts these or anything, I will provide an updated overall P&L and make sure that they do match the books in QuickBooks. I did highlight a couple of things. I just wanted to make sure people were aware. On the profit and loss by month for the property January through July, down under insurance expenses, $7,700,020 is the IPFS insurance. That's our insurance that starts over September 1st that we kind of ran short on last year.
That was on the profit and loss by month,
Yeah, the profit and loss by month,
and the number on it was
7,700,020. That's where the insurance expense is.
Okay,
And you can see we had one that was delayed in March, so they're being entered in arrears. So the final payment for the current policy will be posted in August, and then we're working on the new one. And we think there's gonna be quite a jump in that, so that will be adjusted. I think that's on the admin budget, so we'll have to plug that number in on there, so this is gonna change a little bit. Maintenance, parts and supplies, 7810,030. You can see that July had a pretty big number put in it. And I kind of detailed down below when I drilled into that, what some of that was. It was for some equipment rental, bathhouse exhaust fan, sand for the beach, tree removal by the front pool, and some other necessary expenditures, which is some of the things that Pam kind of talks about in her meeting reports. But if you do want to know specifically what's in there, I'd be happy to sit down and open up the books and drill in and show you line by line, or I can send you an email, whatever you'd like. We just want to make sure everybody's aware of these extra numbers and why they're so big. And then after you get through that one, I did a P&L January through July for each of the departments. So the pro shop and the golf course are kind of combined together, and the reason we do that is because the golf course income all gets coded to the pro shop. So it's not fair to show the golf course with a true negative and the pro shop with always positive with no expenses. So I ran those together. So that kind of helps you guys see where we're at with both the golf course and the pro shop combined. And it brought us currently to a negative 29,000 for January through July. And if there's some tournaments and stuff like that coming up, that's gonna help, bring our income in. After the P&L section, this is where you're gonna get into the budget forecast and the actual. And again, January through June were pulled from the financials, and July through December, Pam sat down with each supervisor and went through these and tried to plug in their best estimate on where they plan on being at the end of the year. And what didn't populate was I tried to do a variance line at the bottom of each one that shows whether we're over or under the actual budget. And I actually have that.
Oh, I've got one on here.
Oh, it showed up on some of them, but not all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what happened. So I just want to show you guys, and I will correct this, so when it does go out, you guys will have it. So we're looking at the pro shop and the golf course, so let me get there. So for the and these are broken down pro shop versus golf course, these budgets, because that's how they were presented. So if you look at the pro shop, there's the forecast. She shows, let me get all the way over to December. The income at 148,000. Oops, sorry, I went too far. 310,000, where the income on the budget was only at 282,000. So she's showing that she's planning on making a little bit more. Her net income is going to be 148 versus 124. So here's the line at the bottom where we've kind of got the variance for over and under, where she's going to end up being over 23,000, almost 24,000 for the pro shop. So that's what's in here for everybody to go through and look at. Again, please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions as you go through them. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going line by line with you guys, but I did want to try to present something a little different to give everybody a little bit better picture of what we're doing and where we're going. Kudos to Pam and her team for taking the time. I kind of put it on her pretty hard to sit down with everybody and plug those numbers in.
Well, especially when I wasn't involved in setting it up to begin with, so kind of jumping in the middle of the
Yeah,
game
but
here.
she did it. They're all done and they're here, and
I would ask, because if you look at the copies, I had to shrink them down to get it all on the paper, so when you're putting it to the PDFs, if you could, because it cuts some of the stuff off.
Yeah, that's what I
We struggle
saw.
with that, and
I know.
and I do know that once you look at them online, once they're posted, they do look a lot more presentable. It's really hard to translate a large spreadsheet to something
Right.
that you all can read,
Right.
and really concentrate on, so it's kind of almost a waste of paper,
I
unfortunately.
know.
Because they just don't translate very well. I was disappointed as well, when I'm
Yeah.
looking at it on my screen, it looks good, and then
Yeah.
when you try to print it, so we'll keep working on that, Pam,
Yeah.
and hopefully we
And we could
can
print it
get
on
better.
ledger, if we could print it on ledger size paper.
Well, what I would even like to see is if I can keep this up and do reports like this, and I send them to Pam, when she sends out the email from you know, from LVL's website with just the agenda, maybe go ahead and attach this for everybody. And
Yeah.
then it's emailed to everybody, and then you
Right.
can see the full PDF.
Right.
And it'll make it easier for you to sit at home and look at versus trying to go back and forth on
Right.
pieces of paper too.
True.
So,
What about a link on the website, like, that people can go to?
We,
When
Well-
she, we'll post that when she gives us the final.
They
Yeah,
are
so-
actually on the website, if you
Right.
go into
Yeah.
board,
Yeah. You
board
have to-
It's under board
meetings
meetings.
and
Yeah.
financials, they will all be there in
and
a
you have to
format
be
that you
signed
can-
up with it.
Right.
It's not open to the
Right.
public, it's only open to members. So if you're not a member, you don't have a login to the website, you
Right.
can't get in and see these
But
things.
when you get into the website, if you're not registered, if you go to the very right corner, that's where you can register, and just my own little plug here, advertisement. If you're not registered, we really highly encourage you to do so, because we want to have everyone's email, everyone's, text numbers in the system, because that is gonna play a major role, when we start using some automation for our billing. And so we would really love to have information on how to contact you. So if you're not registered, please go out and do so. We'd love to have that.
all done?
Yeah, so that's all I had, and again, if anybody ever has questions when you're going through these things, please just shoot an email in, and I'll be happy to schedule a video chat with you, meet you here at the clubhouse, whatever you want, to go through everything with you, because we wanna make sure everybody knows the books are open and we're not hiding anything. The balance sheet, I will just bring this up real quick. Rhonda's gonna touch on several things from the finance committee, but she's been working with the CPA to get all of our fixed assets, appreciation, and amortization schedules all figured out. That's why there's no balance sheet here yet, because it's just not filled out, but he is working on it. And as soon as we get it, we will add it to the website so everybody has access to it. So Rhonda will take care of everything else for the finances for us.
Okay, standing committee reports, architectural committee, Dennis.
Good morning. So, our first meeting for the Architecture Committee for August was Tuesday night. We had 34 new permits that were submitted to the city to review. That brings us to 173 total for the year. It included 3 new homes, 16 were for sheds, accessory buildings, and garages, 2 roof replacements, 3 electrical, 3 culverts, 2 decks, and some miscellaneous singles, which include the POA mailbox shelter, the gazebo fence, porch, and room addition. We did send out 5 stop work letters, 1 due to not paid assessments, several were due to, there was one for an incomplete site plan, we needed more dimensions from property lines, and several were bill across lines that needed easement release forms that weren't present in their packets, so. Any questions? All right.
Golf committee, Ron?
Just a couple things to add, and thank you. No, it was great. It was good. No, it was great. It was great. Just a couple of things to add to it. You know, one of the things the golf committee looks at is rounds year to date, and Katie does a great job of giving us that information. We're up about 1,000 rounds. So last year, we had 11,000 rounds for the entire year. To be up about 1,000 at this point's good. That 1,000 rounds, a good half of it is guests or POA daily paid. So you always have a certain amount that are the folks that essentially are annual members, they pay in advance, so to speak. But if half of those rounds are being paid each month, half of that difference, that's good for cash flow for the golf course. So I mentioned that there will be additional tournaments in September. They're going to do another Big Cup tournament. So we had a good turnout at the Big Cup tournament in last month on the hottest day of the year. And so they're doing 2 at the end of a morning and an afternoon session at the end of September. A lot of thanks to Jay Beach, who's working with Katie to help bring in some of these tournaments. Those tournaments, again, they generate revenue and they generate play on the golf course. So those were things the golf committee this year wanted to try to do is figure out how we support more tournaments coming in. One last note of absolute interest. At the Big Cup tournament, Kevin Hachinsky's 10-year-old grandson got a hole in one. So, a lot of fun.
Awesome. Lindsay, Recreation Committee.
You can just stay there, Pam, you just wanna give her your phone?
Probably want to turn it on. Yeah, there you go.
So we've got Labor Day coming up. We've got a list of things. We've got the farmers market going on at 9, pancake breakfast from 9 to 11 at the church. Donations are welcome. Kids fishing tournament starts at 9. Check-in is at 8:30. That's with Cindy and Greg Hunter. Kids crafts is at 2 p.m. They are doing snow cones this time. I believe it has something to do with rocks is what they're making. I'm not 100% sure. Bingo's at 3 p.m. Movie is at dusk or dark at the clubhouse. That is put on by our fire department. Disc golf is August 31st. That is on Sunday. Check-in at 9 a.m. or check-in at 8:15. Starts at 9. It's blind doubles, $10 a person, and you get a hot dog and water. They are also doing a bench raffle to help raise money. They're trying to get the T-post pads. I'm not quite sure. I'm not into disc golf. T-pads is what they're doing. You can see Paige or Riley. They are
I posted that on our Facebook page.
awesome. So it's $1 for one ticket, 5 for 6, and 20 for an arm's length. Some things coming up is I'm going to clean up the rec barn probably at the end of the month when it cools off. We've got the fall festival coming up. I'm looking for about 15 to 20 people. That is a big day of events. That's October 25th. I'm still looking for someone to host New Year's Eve. If that is something you guys are interested in, get with me. And then we did have an issue up at the three-way. Somebody has cut down all our decorations. I'm not sure who it is. I don't have accurate information. If you do know, please get with me. It's just we want to bring it to their attention. Please don't touch. If you want to help, I am open to it. I just need, don't cut them out and wreck them. They
Well-
are season low. They were season, so
Right.
you change the lights for the season. So unfortunately, they are.
And they were
Not
not
good.
ours.
No, we had them donated. So that's it. Thank you.
I want to add to this that, and I guess I can skip it when I get to the gate guards, but we have added a lot of equipment to the guard shack. We've got tennis rackets, we've got bases, we've got putting golf, or putting clubs, we've got,
We have some horseshoes, but we need to
Horseshoes.
get some horseshoe posts, or
Right.
we need to order some more horseshoes.
right.
Sets.
We do have 2 brand new sets of pickleball rackets and balls. I'm asking that these only be checked out by the adults. We are hoping to get a pickleball court or the lines set up at the tennis court. I know a lot of people are really interested in pickleball. Maybe you want to go up and try it. I know there's a group of women, I think, that get together, or I don't know if there's a club, or I don't know what they're doing, but if you would want to go check out the rackets, the pickleball rackets, and try it before you buy it, you know, that would give you an idea of what you were looking for, and if you really were interested in it. Dennis?
Where are we at with fixing the court itself, filling in the cracks? We
Pam?
got
That's all part of that.
that- we got that
Hopefully-
machine coming
right,
through
I
the
know.
building and they haven't done it.
That is on
It's on the
our
list.
list, yeah, sorry.
Also, I wanted to mention Twilight Swim. We went Thursday night, had a blast. Met a bunch of people up there. Tuesday to Thursday, 7 to 10. Bring your own beverage, whatever that may be, and just enjoy the night. It was really relaxing. The water was nice and warm. It was just a really nice night. So if you're interested in swimming laps even, or whatever, it was fun. We had a good time. So that is available to members from 7 to 10 on Tuesday and Thursday evening. All right, Rhonda Keegan, Finance Committee.
Yes, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So not a big report this time, but I did want to just report on a few things. We've turned over 193 lots for 2024 past due assessments, and those balances totaled $70,464. So that was just done this month. Good news, I think, is that through some of our work and efforts, we have more information to give our collections companies, so they have more contact information than maybe they might have had in the years past. So we're hoping that that's going to bring us some extra additional funds. Unfortunately, for those members, that means they're going to have to pay an extra 30% for those balances. So for those of you that got yours in ahead of that, I appreciate it. We're currently also, I'm going through updating our system against the accounts that are in collections. I've been reviewing our collection accounts, and I've given you numbers to say, well, we have something like 1,100 accounts that were turned over for collection, and some of those were the divided lots. What I'm finding is that we need to update our information, because we would say turn over an account in 2018, and Pam, maybe you and I can work on this to figure out maybe if there's a way to report this better, or maybe I don't know how to look at the report. But if those lots, let's say we had someone listed, I'm going through the list of people that says that debtor is deceased. I have 134 lots turned over for collection sometime between 2018 and now, where the result was, hey, this person is deceased. What I'm finding is when I go through and look at each of those lots now in our system, some of them have actually been sold, and they're good current paying lot members. So I don't want to reflect numbers that aren't accurate, so I'm going through there and trying to make sure that I can look at it, compare, and actually see what lots are really still in these statuses, and maybe for some reason they did get purchased, and that's a different status. So I'll try to work through that. Those are things that are going to be important for us to do before we do our billing for 2026, to make sure that we're billing the people that need to get billed. Our current outstanding receivables is $585,000. That's contrasted with about $641,000 last month. So there have been payments coming in, being made. We do have about $12,000 a month that comes in that I know of, that's just monthly payers set up on automatic credit cards. So we know that $12,000 is going to be coming to us every month as we look at forecasting through the end of the year. I can report through the help of Pam Sanchez that we now have all of our bank accounts reconciled through the month of July. That's a big yay, because we kind of started out behind the 8 ball. So I can say that we've been through every month, and so we know that things that have come out of our bank account have been properly recorded in the system. We know that deposits that have been brought in have been recorded. I will say there's one account, the Square account, that we're still working on, but all the other accounts have been updated. As Terry mentioned, our CPA, Justin Smale of Navigate Tax, is currently working on our balance sheet entries. And so when we converted to our new system, and I don't want to go too far for those of you who are not interested in accounting, because it may be rather boring, but just to give explanation, when we converted, we did not bring over the data from the old system. And there were some reasons that went behind that. But what we're doing now is the CPA is trying to validate the balances brought over are matching the balances that were at year end. And I could give you a balance sheet, but it's not complete. And so I just feel like at this point, our assets in terms of our fixed assets have not changed greatly. And we try to give you an insight of what our checking account balances are. But we will have that for you. I just want to give it to you with good confidence. So if anybody has any questions, or you want to know further, like why isn't this here, happy to talk to you about it. If you have experience with CPAs and you'd like to get in on the conversation, I'd love to include you. Okay, so if you have that experience and you want, I am an accounting person, I'm an operations person. I am by no means a CPA. So I'm happy to share in my pain and let you, help me. Our next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for August 28th, and we're going to be sitting down and just reviewing some of the things that we know need to be accomplished. One of the big pushes is how are we gonna make sure that we can automate our 2026 annual assessments as much as possible? We really would like to give everybody an option to pay online, to set up their payments. I think this is something that would be helpful to our members. It would be certainly helpful to our office so that hopefully we can take some load off of them instead of having to come in and mail or bring your payment in, those sorts of things. So that's really important. I think that would make a big difference in how we're able to provide services to you as members. So that's my report. Is there?
Any update on the 24 tax filing?
He did say, one of the things about the 24 tax filing was getting access to our previous system, and again, that would be a long story. But he's close. We just have a password issue, and then once he gets that done, and that'll kind of all coincide with getting those taxes done, we'll have our final numbers for retained earnings and things like that that go into the balance sheet. So I'm hopeful that by next month, we'll be able to say that we have that complete, but I am reliant upon our CPA, who sometimes does not always follow through with dates that my expectations anyway. So I wish it was a better concrete, but that's what I believe, I hope is happening.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns? Okay, awesome, thank you.
Lake management, Doug.
Couple of items to walk through. The Lakes and Wildlife Facebook page is being managed by Leanne and Dennis, doing a great job. There's 3 message threads on there. One is the watershed and water quality. We just completed measurements. We're waiting on one more lake, and then we'll post what the summer readings are, which have come down. Safety Lake Patrol, fish habitat and aquatic plants. And Dan, you asked about this Queen Anne's lace look-alike out there last meeting.
Right.
We did go out and take pictures of what we saw. The tops of them look very similar,
Yes.
but the stems on this
Exactly.
bad one has a purple stain to it,
it's
whatever.
smooth.
And we didn't find any of that. Everything we saw was Queen Anne's lace. So the nasty one is not here, as far as we know. If somebody sees it, looks like Queen Anne's lace, but the stem has purple blotches on it. That's the bad one. Send a picture of it, please,
And I
and a
think
location.
one of them is, the stem is smooth and the other one's not. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
right.
I'm looking up again.
Yeah, exactly.
Which one is that?
I don't, I'll have to look and see. We're working on a Facebook post to explain that difference, but we'll add a plant series. We've got the fish figured out, we've got the aquatic plants figured out. We're moving to the land-based plants and go from there.
Yeah, it's the
So-
purple color. That's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious when you look at it, yeah. We're continuing to work with ambassadors. We hosted a 10-acre lake meeting with mixed access. Somebody paddled around and put a note and a flag on every dock on 10 acre. That was great. That was our method. Most people didn't see it. Somebody put trash on my, what? Oh. Okay, but we had a nice gathering with fresh fruit and made some dock numbers at 10 acres, had a good turnout, but lots of people have reached out on Facebook since. So now we have 8 or 10 people at 10 acre that will work with us as ambassadors. We do intend to do those on the other lakes. So if you live on 5 acre or paddle boat, please help us organize a meeting. We'll do that this fall and go from there. Lake Patrol, Pam posted an online ad. We get 2 or 3 applicants every week. We've been talking with them, trying to get them here and finish out. 2 of them have been highly qualified. We have 1 of them coming today at 11, like that, where we will start for a trial. So the online ads actually do work. The biggest project that we have going, which really started with Leanne, we're continuing on, is that we have combined the idea of a watershed plan, water quality plan, wildlife assessment, all into the Lynn Valley plan. And so it's all together. And it comes in the form of what's the right design for a spillway or a culvert or a creek bed or whatever else, and then what's the priority list. And so working with Heartland Lake Management, who we've walked the property and done assessments and everything, our biggest issue is exposed soil. Whether that's your lot with all the topsoils washing off, or you're building and you push the dirt up to the edge and that washes in, or it's our own creeks and things that at high water just erodes a bank out and gets in there. It's all silting up our lakes and ponds, you know, and we've measured, I think the numbers were between 4 and 11 feet in the main lake has silted up. And if we just keep doing that, we're gonna have a little shallow marsh out there, and this happens all over Kansas. So what we're doing about that is we've asked the board if we got riprap, could we borrow equipment to move it around, and they said yes. So we've placed our first stakes. There are 2 blue stakes with a yellow flag on it. It's not visible, very visible, we're gonna improve that, but they're over by the culvert on Paddle Boat. And so if you have rock, we would like for you to dump it there. We'll get the equipment and move the rock to where we need to. And we'll continue to do those. We'll take a picture, post the location. We're just kind of going slowly on this. But if people in the community have rock, we got a ton of rock down here like that. That's a lot of rock like that. Probably want to come steal some of that. I don't know. But we'll.
Looking for like rock from excavation and
yeah,
things like
yeah.
that.
We give an opportunity to reuse that materials rather than buying new. So that's the plan with that. And the thing that we're going to work on first is exposed soil, where we can do that. Dennis demonstrated a great thing. Every week we had mud on the boat ramp dock like that because it would wash down the hill. And after lots of discussions and lots of gravel and lots of grading, it still was happening. Dennis went out there and put rock. It's 100% better, you know. So just the rock is going to really be our friend there. Along with that design goes the stream buffers. We've identified some areas to leave the grass longer to keep that out of flowing in the lakes. That's good. It does capture things. It's best practice recommended. From our water quality measurements, we still have a lot, an overload of nutrients, especially in Paddle Boat, like that by this time of the year, the numbers are really low. We're measuring 22 centimeters like that. That's all the farther you can be. This summer, it was about up here like that, or excuse me, this winter, it was way up here. So it's really high algae level in the water, and we're trying to work with that. We do intend to continue the idea of working with Evergy this fall for the wildlife planting. So these areas that are mostly just tall turf grass weeds, the idea is that we would we'd cut that down this fall. They would come in and drill wildflower seeds. And there's one mix for deer food and the others for pretty flowers. Yeah, we'll probably buy both of those and put them both out. Yeah. We'd like a little input back from people on the deer. With more vegetation out there, have you found that your own plants are less getting nibbled down? You know, just if you compare year over year,
Yes.
you know, send us a picture and.
Our hostas did not get eaten this year.
Okay, that's what we're looking for, is a few statements like that, and somebody was saying, no, he's still subject to it. So we want to look at those locations and see whether there needs to be special habitat. Somebody spoke to me last night at the town hall and said, I put in, you know, you put in a wildlife habitat bed for it. That's great. That's what we want to encourage. So let us know how that does. Cool.
You still do not want people to feed them with corn.
It's true, not by hand, yeah.
Base the deer.
Yeah.
Because they
I
eat them
haven't
in the
been
ground.
feeding
We don't want them to many mouths eating out of the same thing. You know, that's like the buffet for the deer. And if you're on a cruise ship and you go to the buffet, likely you're going to spend the rest of the time in the cabin. So, we are taking water quality measurements. We've got a second individual doing that now on the Park Lakes, and that's going to help with that. So that's been trained. Again, our numbers have fallen back. And what's a little sad is that Paddle Boat's gone right back to where it was. You know, in 22 centimeters is about as bad as it does. But interesting, the reading further out in the lake is 2 or 3 centimeters higher than right up at where the inlets are. And so again, we know that it's nutrients washing in. That's the problem there. Open fishing at Deer Trace, we're still going to keep the 9th and 10th dates, but we will be flexible to Andrew if he needs to adjust that. But it's from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And if somebody really wants a different time in there, you can work with us. But we thought that would be a focused, decent fishing time given the heat and things like that. So that was our guess. If you have a different opinion, you can get in touch with us.
Excuse me, how are people getting out onto the course? I'm assuming we're not letting them drive their trucks.
No non-golf cart vehicles on the course. Yeah, you've got to park in the parking lot and walk. It's not that far a walk. Okay, and the course will be closed, so they would prefer to use the paths, but you know, you can get there. We will have a tank there, and if you don't want to take home your trophy fish, put it in the tank, and we will move it from there to the main lake. With the idea that, hey, if you've got a nice bass in that irrigation lake and we only let you fish it 6 hours a year, why not put it up in the main lake and maybe catch that a couple of times during the year? That's the thought. We aren't going to move it any further than the main lake. Won't move it upstream. Mechanical aeration on paddle boat. We are getting ready to finalize the pad and electrical design, work with Evergy to drop a pole, pour a pad, an enclosure around an aeration system, and it's in the budget to install, and that'll be a 10 bubbler system for paddle boat, and we think that will do what is happening over a 10 acre, where the readings are 10 to 15 centimeters higher than lakes that aren't being aerated like that. So that is still in the plan to be done this fall. Bow hunt for deer. We've been talking about this for several months. I was progressing forward with that. We've talked to the county, the state, our consultant. We've talked to hunters. We had a great, 12-page plan all lined out, and we circulated it to various people. We were on revision 5 of changes. We sent it to the city. They put it on the agenda, went into executive session, and voted it down. And the comments that came out were that no city around here has such a plan. Well, Johnson County Parks and Rec is what we use to develop our plan with. Kansas City has one, Shawnee has one, Olathe has an ordinance that we modeled about it. So yeah, it's not Pleasanton, but there certainly are cities in Kansas that have such a plan. There was no control. Well, there was actually 12 pages of control, and a lottery, and permits, and rules, and observations, and everything else. There was a lot of controls in there. And that it really needed to be done by the state. Well, we talked to the state, and the state said, we can't do it, it's private land. We'll be happy to advise, we encourage it, we want you to do it, but we can't do it for you. And so, we just think the wrong information was put out there. And it was just another way for people to hunt. Well, I don't hunt, but I'm advocating it because I think we need it for our deer population. I don't really like the idea of going out and shooting it, but I think we need to. It's a necessary thing that we need to do. And so we had 2 locations, 1 hunter a week for the season. That was 32 hunters, have to go through a skills test, have to be permitted, all the stuff in there, and doing it on farmland. Does anybody know where our farmland is? It's way over the hill. There's probably 25 to 30 lots that would be marginally impacted, and if you look at homes on those lots, it's probably on no more than both hands. Okay, and so working with those people, they would know the risk. It was going to be staked, it was whatever else. We really tried to do this, and we asked for input. They said no. We'll see what happens with it. I love the idea of why don't we have an archery range? This is a country environment like that. That could be an activity. We used to have paddle boats on paddle boats. Well, yeah, you could fall off and drown. Okay, that's a risk. We used to do horseback riding. Is that not risky as well? I mean, where did we get to be Johnson County and Lynn Valley? I thought that was the idea of the country. So elections are coming up. We'll have the discussion on it. Let's figure out what we can do to work with the city. We'd love to have just the idea of wildlife management on this board city discussion of, if you aren't going to let us do it, what are you going to do to do it?
So we encourage everyone to talk to your council members.
Yes.
Yeah, and at least we get an answer. What was the issue? I believe it was.
We didn't even go in and represent ourselves on it.
Yeah, there was no notice that it was on the agenda. The website was broken that time, so they didn't put out an agenda, or we would have been there to advocate for it. So
it was done without any input to them.
for here? Oh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, well, the question was, why did that require executive session? So I think it was the legal advice is what took that down. And yeah, there is risk. You could have a rogue hunter, but what's stopping that today? Yeah, there's no difference in there of whether we're trying to observe and monitor and control. And so we were open to all inputs, and we just didn't get any that were factual with it. So that's our concern there. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Doug, quick question on the silting part you were talking about, the 411, is that like measured at the inlets coming into the lake?
Well, we've done that.
Was that 4 to 11 feet?
Yes, we've done that multiple is that we had sonar from fishing done over the entire main lake area. And we have, the consultant came in and did a top, bottom, soft bottom and hard bottom measurements with a stick coming out of paddle boat and marked those. And then we took those measurements and we went back to the original topographic maps when it was built. And so out in the deepest part is like 50 feet, something like that. And the deepest measurement we got to, in our sonar testing was like 47 or something like that. So there's a 3-foot difference or something. I could get the correct number.
And so were the.
So we
the
matched the
lakes,
boat.
like Paddle Boat and Ten Acre, were they more silted than what you saw in the main lake?
That idea.
I know back where
Yeah.
we're at, I mean, we've got it, but, I mean, I know those see a lot more heavy water traffic, so I was just curious,
Yeah.
those numbers were pretty big.
Anecdotally, that's pretty accurate, you know, it's 3 to 5, you know, it's 3 to 7 in most places out there. I know that I bought in 2020, and off my dock, I've lost 18 inches in 5 years, like that. And you can tell in coves, we've got all the people that have trouble with weeds, or because they're at the end of the cove and it comes in, and we've talked about the 2 foot of water wash coming off of paddle boat in a heavy rain that's just bringing everything down. That's why exposed soil is our biggest risk for a lake. So it fits anecdotally, it fits with the measurements, it fits with the advice. I think we've nailed the right issue there. Thanks.
Real Estate Committee, Greg. Sure, yeah, turn that on, there you go.
Hold it down for a second.
Yeah, totally.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, hi, good morning, Greg Ader, I'm the chair and have a great crew on the real estate committee. We've really been quite busy. One of the big things is to really figure out how we're gonna manage our lien process to improve our collections of back dues, which we've heard from the finance committee is quite significant. And we also have a tax sale coming up next week for the county. And so there's 26 lots there. We've had demand letters sent out to the owners of those properties. We plan to file liens this coming Monday to preserve our rights as a debtor in the process. We are still trying to figure out kind of how that's going to work, but the goal is to make us a debtor just like the county and the state with their taxes. So when the lots are sold, our hope is to get sufficient proceeds such that the tax burden can be satisfied, but also that our interest as the POA can be discharged. And to facilitate that, our plan is to have POA representatives at the meeting to basically make sure that the price sold represents something that will, a level that will protect our interest. It's not to, mess with the process, but it's really just to make sure that we are represented and that our debts are collected as well as the other debts. The big thing that we're working with our attorneys is to try to get a process that's very efficient and effective for the 1,000 or so lots that are in arrears. That number seems to vary from week to week. But the idea is there's a lot out there, and how do we make this idea that if you have a debt with a POA, you need to pay it? And that pardon?
Novel.
I think that's the way society sort of works, right? So we don't want to be, messing with, like Doug said, there's no city's ever done that. Well, I think we need to start doing that. And so we also, along the idea of people that want to get out from under their debts and really, move on, we want to make that easy for people to do. So we're working on a quit claim process so that if you have a debt, a relationship, an agreement, and you want to get out of that, we want to try to facilitate that. And so our goals in the real estate committee are many, and there's many things that need to be worked on, but the idea of promoting assemblage, folks, that if there's a lot next door to you that you want to acquire so you can have a better experience. We want to facilitate that and help that. Not to necessarily make private citizens get rich quick, but to have a equitable arrangement to transfer that property and again, promote assemblage. That's called assemblage. And then, as I mentioned, collecting the amounts that are in arrears so that we can have funds to work on these fun projects that the board has. Lots of good progress. It's amazing.
Thank you.
And so any questions? Doug has been a great advocate and a great help, lots of energy. And so really a great committee, and Dennis is our liaison. So question?
Yeah, we bought one of the lots in February, and how often is the available lots or the lots that are in arrears updated?
I think we're still working through that process. I don't know. Rhonda, do you have a?
Only reason why I asked, if we had a truck parked right on that lot we just bought, I don't know if they were looking at it or if they were looking at something else.
Yeah. Well, I think we're trying to work out that process and the data collection, I think what we're figuring out is this is an incredibly manual process. And so with lots of moving parts. And so I think we're discussing some sort of software to help us maintain accurate, because these are legal proceedings and we need to be right. And so that's a great topic.
To that point, just as a data point, in the 26 properties involved in the sale, the owner or the address, billing address, has changed on 8 of the 24 in a 30-day period of time.
Yeah.
That's how frequently the data moves. So we need
I
software.
will tell you a lot of what I see in collection and what I see in our system sometimes for those folks who are behind is we have bad address. And so that's where, in my opinion, if we have somebody's email, that doesn't usually change. At least they can tell you don't contact me. So you can maybe at least, know that they're still out there somewhere. I don't know. But I mean, that's something that we're really trying to work on is getting, and this is gonna start with people who are coming new to our community or are buying a property, that we're gonna be collecting information from them, maybe even down to how do you wanna pay your dues, how do you wanna set that up, so that we got them set up from day one on how they're gonna, it's just kind of like when you go into a health club and you sign up for a membership, obviously following within our guidelines of our bylaws and all those things we can and cannot do. But I think we would have a better outcome if we did get that rolling up front, to where people had some kind of guaranteed means if they're not gonna pay annual. et cetera.
Something that you might, sorry, Greg, something you might want to think about is we could possibly get a list of the ones that we show as bad address to the county treasurer's office.
And I started looking
And
them up.
ask
and
them,
interesting-
but
yeah.
ask if they're current in their property taxes or real estate taxes first.
We can look those up.
And ask for the addresses.
Yeah.
Right.
What I found a lot of times is when I look at the bad address, they have the same
Address.
address, and so it makes me
And they're
think,
also late on their
it makes me think
taxes,
they're
so.
probably late on their taxes
Yeah.
too, so.
I think you can actually see.
Yeah.
You can actually see
These are
that.
great topics, because I think we're gonna start getting a lot more real about this whole process, and our goal is within a very statute, within the law, as soon as we can, we're gonna file a lien. And so communication is gonna be king, or it's gonna get, messy quick. So I think that's great to have that sort of data quality has been a very big issue.
Al?
Yeah.
Does your plan include involving investors who want to give up that lot and there try to be a forgiveness or something so that they can turn it over to the POA and then somebody can buy it?
We're talking about that, yes, how to have a mutually respectful and beneficial arrangement. Yeah. There's a lot of lots that are in that. All right, thank you.
The next agenda item is the repairs and the deferred maintenance. Again, thank you to all our volunteers. We couldn't have done this without you. We've done a lot in the last couple of months, and we hope to continue to keep the momentum going. I am not gonna go through and read all of these. I can tell you that on the community center, we are starting to get estimates on materials for them so that we can go with one of the most inexpensive fixes. We are going to replace all of the siding, we are going to replace all of the windows. So we wanna make sure that we're getting as good of a deal on that as possible. We're hoping to start that mid-September if possible. The mailbox shelter is going up, about half the motion detector lights are up. Terry and I walked through the bathhouses. That's an ongoing discussion for the board. We do plan to try to get those updated and cleaned up as much as we can. Boat ramp dock is being worked on. The beach and sand project, the sand project is done. However, there was a larger remodel that was planned for this last spring that did not happen, because we're going to have to probably, unless somebody knows somebody here that wants to help, but we're gonna probably have to go outside of the community to get those tiers leveled up, just have some rock work done, golf cart path over to the beach, you know, some items like that. We've more or less pushed that off since it's August already. We've pushed it off to be a spring project.
You're wanting to take vehicles down to the beach?
To a parking area by the beach, not onto the beach.
There's a
but
lot of
by the
people that
beach.
aren't able to walk all the way down to the beach that would
Right.
like to enjoy the beach. So if we could have a cart path that could go back and forth to help get people down there, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
I think you're asking triple. Okay.
And then Doug talked about the aeration system on paddle boat. The clubhouse pool, we are continuing to look at options. I would say that right now, we are probably going to go toward a remodel idea, rather than to replace the pool. I've talked to 3 different people. I've got 2 bids outstanding. I'm waiting to see what those are, but they all feel like if they come in and do their work, that we would be able to probably get another 10 years out of it. We've got $150,000 that's currently put aside for what was supposed to be a down payment on a new pool. If we could spend that and we could get the pool fixed up, and if it would last us another 10 years, and we could put that $150,000 a year into a savings account, we would hopefully be close to having enough money 10 years from now to be able to do a total replace with a larger pool. I know that's probably way past any term I'm gonna ever run, but that would be an ideal situation to be able to repair it now and replace it when we have cash to pay to replace it. And hopefully we can build that cash up to get that cash. Upcoming payments, nothing's really changed on that from last month. We have, the next big payment coming up is gonna be our insurance, which we are looking at all of our options. We have a broker looking actually for us. We're waiting for a response back from him. He did say he had somebody that, he did have a company that was possibly interested in insuring us, please. So we're waiting to hear back from him on that. Yeah, we're starting to get down to the, even though we started real early, we're starting to get down to crunch time.
I hate to say that, but it is the nature of the business, having worked in the business, and also since we're in an excess market for most of our coverages that we have.
Right.
You're gonna probably get down to the wire, although I will say, I don't believe any of our current carriers, other than we know about the DNO and the EPLI, have said that they're not going to
Right.
provide quotes, so I think that is a, knock on wood if I had it, a good indication that we will have a quote.
Right. All right, the city meeting, we got together, we, didn't have a real long meeting. We discussed the water project, which I really didn't learn anything new on. We discussed a noise ordinance. We had a complaint from a member about 4th of July weekend, and there was a property that had three campers on it and a tent and 3 generators, all on one property, and she had a complaint with that. So we checked with them to see if there was a noise ordinance, and Lou addressed this at the last city council meeting, and it was the opinion kinda was, well, it was 4th of July weekend, so I guess that means it's okay. And that's,
Okay.
we have hired, evening and weekend gate guards, so we do have gate guard coverage Monday through Thursday from 8 to 10, Friday from 8 to 11, Saturday from 9 to 11, and Sunday from 9 AM to 10 PM. If you wanna check out the toys, go to the guard shack, they have all the toys there to check out.
You said you, earlier, in the manager, president's report, you've added equipment to the, but I think that was recreation equipment. Do they
Correct.
have computer or anything? How are they able to look up and contact property owners? Cause somebody just yesterday, the day before, took, had posted on such that they had their kid's friend come down and said they were going to their property, but they had no idea, they weren't even home, and they let them in.
Right.
And so they came and went to the pool, and they weren't with guests, or with property owners at all. So how are
asked,
we able to,
Tina is the daytime gate guard, and she's been here for a few weeks. I asked her, we saw that post, and she said she's never let anybody in without writing them down if they were coming for golf, and other than that, she doesn't let people in, so she doesn't know what that circumstance was, but she said she did not do that.
It's possible a nighttime guard,
I mean,
it's
I'm just-
possible
I'm
a
just
night,
This
hoping
wasn't
that-
couple days
yesterday,
ago.
this was a week or so
Yeah,
ago.
it's possible it was a nighttime guard, but yes, they're under instruction that they do not let anybody in, unless they're,
contacting the property owner? 'Cause,
yes,
if you got guests coming down, you're gonna give them a gate code.
Right.
or
Right.
Have some way for them to get in.
right,
So, okay.
okay.
Just curious about expectations.
Yeah, that's been my thing, why?
Yeah, she said she sees,
They're not there to let your guest in.
Right.
period.
she sees a lot of people go over and park in front of the clubhouse and just get out and go to the pool.
Yes, yes.
In front of the community
Happens
center?
all the time.
Yeah.
And is there any status on having Tina up there during the day? At first, I wasn't an advocate of that, but I think it's great because anything that alleviates the office personnel having to deal with ice or other issues, that's gotta be a blessing, right?
Yes.
So I'm hoping that.
And not to mention the numerous people that come in that wanna get through the gate, and typically, during the day, who do you have that's coming, that needs to get in the gate? It's Lowe's, it's Home Depot, it's Walmart, it's whoever, it's the companies with the big trucks that need to get in, and yes, it would be great if we could text them a message, but I can tell you from personal experience, you can tell them, have them give me a call or have them text me when they're on their way here, I'll send them a code to get in or whatever. Oh, what truck driver's bringing that truck in, who's bringing the I do, however, try to make a habit of going up and telling the gate guard, please let so-and-so in because they're bringing
Delivery truck's
sand
one-
for
one
the,
thing,
right,
that's obvious.
right,
Right.
obviously,
It's the people in vehicles that are trying to get in that shouldn't be.
right. If that happened, it should not have happened, and we'll talk to all the gate guards about that.
Just wondering about expectations.
Right, right. They are not supposed to be letting anybody in, and we are working on getting a computer for the gate guards, so. And it would be nice if we could do something similar to, I know Lake Quivira, I don't know if they still do it now, but they would, if we had a phone out there, or if we had an email address out there, they would send a message saying, hey, can you please let Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so in? They'll be here about 2 o'clock I mean, if it came down to that, but like you said, we've got the phone apps now. We've got numerous ways to let your guests in, so they should be able to get in.
If we do want them to have a member, I mean, until we get a computer out there, we can certainly print, if that's what you guys want them to have, we could print a member list that have the contacts for the members, so at least somebody
Could call,
could legitimize that I'm here to see,
Well,
so-and-so.
or even call them and say,
call And say we have
Yes.
Well, property, you got this person wanting in under your name.
right,
Right,
Do we let them?
Yep.
right.
Yeah, but then they're letting.
But they have the property owner's permission, so.
this property owner said that they, just came and said, hey, I'm here to see Pam Kyle, and she said, okay, and let him in. So, or he or she, whoever the gate guard was. And that's not how it was intended to work, but if they had a phone number to call you and say, hey, Pam, so-and-so's here to see you, did you authorize
Heck
them
no.
coming in? Yeah, so,
Exactly, that's.
you know,
Well, I mean, it's just like our daughter came in and family came in last night and I sent her a gate pass.
Yes.
The black gate went up, the barrier arm did not go up. I don't think she was positioned
Yeah.
correctly
right.
by the call box.
Yeah.
So the guard did help her. So I wanna talk to him to make sure that the vehicles are positioned correctly over the loop. Because that was probably the issue with that.
Right, but I know a lot of
Just in
people,
an emergency, we had a call that came in the office one day, and I don't think you were there, Pam, but we had a call that came in, and somebody just moved here, they didn't know their lot number, didn't even know their 911 address, and they had a medical emergency, and they're calling the office saying, can you tell me what my address is, cause I need an ambulance. And so, I mean, obviously, we're planning, right, but at that moment, you need to try to see what you can do to help that
Right.
person. So, I mean, I'm just thinking of other things that could happen, right?
right, and there are, and I know some people think the gate guard is a total 100% waste of money. Other people think, other people think that it's well worth the money. We are hoping to start, having the gate guard actually do some office work. So they will be more productive with what we're paying them, with what their job is. So as we work through this, it's not something that's perfect to start with, unfortunately. It's something we're gonna work through. We're going to try to give them more responsibilities, working, whether it's inputting information from the office or whatever their task may be. We're gonna try to start incorporating that into it a little bit.
I think the gate guards are really beneficial, but when I come driving through and they've got their feet propped up on the desk, that kind of,
Turns you off, yep,
it turns us off.
yes,
So,
yes,
I do
okay.
agree, I did witness, there was a medical emergency, gate guard was there, opened the gate, sent them on their way.
Okay.
So,
That's good to know.
I think
Uh-huh.
it's important now when they're coming.
Well,
right to the
I'm not-
sirens, as soon as they're at the gate, hit the button, let them in, like,
Right.
don't sit there and chat with them, like, let
Right.
them go. So.
What's your business here, right?
Just the facts.
And Pam, do you know, do our ambulance and fire department have
They would have
remotes?
I thought they have remotes.
I thought there was a chirp system where they chirp the siren and it actually
Well,
activates the
there is
gate.
that also as a SOS, that they can sound the part, yeah, thank you, on their equipment that opens the right side.
Okay,
But
okay,
they do have other devices to put in.
okay, alrighty. Okay. We have currently farmland, which was Doug was talking about it, that's on the other side of the ridge over here. That in the past, there was a contract to lease that land out to a farm owner. That lease expired in 2020 and there was never another lease written for that. The gentleman has continued to lease the property. He is paid every March, but we would like to get that lease reinstated with him. I am gonna table this discussion to the next meeting until we can reach out to the farmer and see what his thoughts are, and we as a board can decide if we want to go ahead and put that property up for bid, or if we want to renew a lease and at what price. He's been really good about paying. Their original lease was signed in 2015. I don't know if they rented it prior to that, or if that was the
There was
first.
another gentleman that rented it prior
Okay.
to that, and then the board at the time did put it out for bids,
Okay,
and, Mr. Ross was the high bidder.
right. So, I mean, he's paid every year, so we don't feel like we really just wanna go take it away from him and say, you're done. We do wanna talk to him and kinda see what his thoughts are. Maybe he doesn't even wanna farm it anymore. I don't know, but we'll go ahead and table that till next month. As Greg was, mentioning that there's the tax sale that's coming up, and we would like, what I'd like the board to do is to authorize Dennis and myself to go to the auction and bid on the properties, and we would only bid to collect the past dues. So in other words, starting bid could be $500 if that's what they owe for taxes. We would make sure to bid to be able to receive back our assessments that haven't been paid. So in other words, we would not have people going out and bidding $500 or on a property and we would not see the return. Or if we had somebody even, we'd only bid up to say $2,000 or $2,500, but if it goes up to $5,000, we would get, we would be able to get our money back. I'm not doing a good job explaining this. Does somebody else want to take this over?
Yeah. I mean, we would have to determine lot by lot what we wanted, but basically, if we have filed a $3,000 lien against that property, and the county is due $500 of taxes, if the property sells for $600, the county gets the $500, we would get $100 towards our $3,000 lien. But if the property sold for $2,500, we would get $2,000 towards our lien. The county would hold the first place and any money over that. And then any money that it actually sold for over and above our lien and the county's would go back to the previous property owner. But our goal would be, obviously, the more it sells for up to what our lien is, the more we recover in what's owed to us based on our lien. So we would be bidding in hopes of recovering more of what's owed to the POA, and but the most that we would actually net have to pay is what the taxes are, because anything above that we bid, the county would be paying back to us. So we will determine a bid strategy, but basically we're saying we're going to discuss a motion to bid on those properties to enable more recovery of what's owed to us. Doug?
Dennis, I agree with everything you said, just an adjustment on the numbers. The typical taxes due are in the range of $515, something like that, and then there's court costs.
Mm-hmm.
So if we looked at that as $600 to the county, our lien is at $2152 plus interest, and 5 years of interest comes out about $400. So if we were looking at $2,600, so they've got $600, we bid $2,600, that's like $3,200, and we should get our assessments back plus interest at that point. So that would be a good number to keep in mind.
Right. So that's what, we're just trying to protect our own interest, and because obviously somebody gets it for $600 or $700, we're just out, and that same person very well may have paid more if someone was there to move that bid up.
Do we feel like most of the properties are going to be worth at least what the lien amount?
Possibly, but even if they're not, the most we're going to have invested when the dust settles is the $600 for taxes. So we feel like any of the lots in that 600 are well worth the $600 that we would have invested in order to acquire that property.
There are, I believe, 2 of the lots that have homes on them.
And we will not be bidding on that lot.
One of them does have a gentleman that lives in it.
Right.
Right, and we have no interest.
The city would do something about that.
Right, and so those, any of the improved lots, we will not bid on, because we don't wanna, we just don't wanna go there. So any of the lots we would bid would be vacant land. So any question on that strategy?
I would like to make a motion to authorize Dennis and Julie to register and bid at the Lynn County Tax Deed Sale on August 22nd, 2025, to preserve the interest of the association in collecting unpaid assessments and collection costs in the past 5 years represented by the liens on the properties.
Did you wanna second that?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Looks like we're getting close to the end.
Okay, the deer,
Let Dennis take this over.
the Deer Trace agreement that's on your list, Jay Beach, who, any of you that are golfers are familiar with Jay. Jay has, done a lot, spent a lot of his own time and money helping, with tournaments. He has put on the youth clinics. He's really, really been beneficial in helping, with a lot of things to golf. He approached us about selling some, golf equipment in a small area in the pro shop. And this is not items that Katie would normally sell as the pro shop. Golf clubs, golf apparel, things that she has not been selling. He also has some high-end golf balls, which are different than what Katie sells. So it's not in competition with what we're doing currently. We have had discussions with him, and we have had our attorney review, what we want to do there. The long and the short of it is, there's a small area there where we are going to allow Jay Beach to sell clubs and possibly do some club repair for people. We feel like it's an asset to the community to have him there and doing that, and we feel like there's no downside to the POA by having him there. So we have come to an agreement that we would allow him to have this about a 10-foot by 20-foot space to do that in the community. He will have his own point of sale system, so it will not intertwine in any way with anything, any of the finances of the POA. Because obviously, and he is there regularly and so on, but obviously the pro shop staff occasionally is going to get asked questions or something to that effect, and so he's agreed to compensate the pro shop staff separately, which doesn't cost us. It benefits the staff, slightly by doing that, and so that's kind of what we've talked about doing, and so we're assuming that we vote and agree, that we will vote to have an agreement with Jay to have that equipment in there, and it's voidable at any time if for some reason it's not working out. Katie or Pam can notify Jay and say, hey, this is not working, and that agreement would come to an end. So that's what we've talked about with Jay.
And he is required to have all his own insurance on his
Right.
property, and we are held harmless for anything that would get damaged or broken or stolen or whatever the case may be. He does have all his equipment that he's got up there for sale insured, so.
And we would require him to put a sign up that said this equipment is owned by him and he is solely liable for anything on that equipment. So that's what it would be.
Where's
So
the space located? Is it upstairs, downstairs?
upstairs, right kind of in front of the cash register. There's already the slat board on the wall he's put some brackets to hang clubs and that kind of thing right there is where it would be. So, and it would just be in that small area.
Are you thinking about like a percentage of sales?
Yes, it would be a percentage of the sales that go back to the pro shop staff. And he would coordinate with Katie on that, and so that's what it would be. Ultimately, and it states in there, and I can kind of read through, on this, and it says, this agreement runs month to month until superseded by a more comprehensive agreement. And the reason it says that is because ultimately, what he would like to do, and there again, this would happen sometime in the future if it's able to be worked out. He ultimately would like to actually run have a liquor license and actually sell beer and liquor in there, and have a limited restaurant menu as part of that agreement. And he also would like to put a golf simulator in that building so that in the winter and inclement weather, people could go in and pay to use the golf simulator. That's ultimately what he would like to do, and I'm not saying that could or could not be worked out, but that's not part of what we're doing here. But the long-term goal, the reason that might supersede this, is if we do come to an agreement where he would actually rent part of this, and in that case, he would actually rent the space, and it would be, on him to do. We would not benefit or lose other than our rent that we would charge him for those things. Any improvements to the building to facilitate the simulator, those would all be his expenses. We're not doing that. So that's something that we will discuss if and when we get to that point where we're getting into those negotiations. This is just strictly an agreement for that small area for golf equipment. So does anyone want a motion that we
Pam, have you agreed to this?
I've read over it, I mean, it seems like everything we've discussed with him.
and I have discussed.
Jay?
If there appears to be any issues moving forward, it sounds pretty clear that we can.
Just continue
get out of it.
Yeah.
Get out of it, right, we just tell him we're done, and I have also discussed that with Katie. I met with Katie and then Pam, earlier in the week to make sure that they were in agreement with what we had on the agreement. Jay?
So just to be clear, the association's getting no revenue.
Correct.
The percentage is basically in the tip jar for the staff.
For
more or
going,
less, right?
it's,
on that.
he will be paying the staff directly.
This is effectively really a month-to-month type
Yeah.
of deal,
Yes.
let's call it that, right?
Exactly.
We can shut it down. The assumption would be that, again, because he's got grander plans, and it is for profit, right? I mean,
Right.
he's not doing this stuff, so I assume that we are looking at that if we're going to shift gears on this, that we're gonna be looking to get rent for our.
Absolutely.
That was what I was going to ask.
Absolutely.
You
If
did a trial basis to find out if he can really get some traction. But,
And,
I mean, again,
but ultimately, yes, we, and one of the things, if he opened, if he was doing similar to what the restaurant did, where they were getting credit for the beer sales, if he was doing that and basically selling beer rather than us selling beer, we profit, and I don't know the exact number, but for the beer sales and the fountain sales and the, whatever, that's a substantial amount of money in profit every year that Katie adds to her budget. And it's probably in the $20,000 to $24,000 a year range of profit. So if she was losing that profit to her budget, we would need at least that compensated back in the rent to offset that loss to her. So that's what it would be.
Yeah, I think that, your beer sales and stuff and your golf balls and stuff, that's low hanging fruit. I mean, the guys
Right.
walking in, anyone that's golfing and,
Right.
I mean,
And
we'd be peeling stick sandwiches.
right,
out of
no,
the
she
cooler now,
makes,
so.
she makes a good amount of money on that every year, and so we certainly aren't gonna give that up just to benefit, I mean, we would need compensated for that loss. So, I'm sorry?
Plus rent.
Plus, right, yeah, we would have to, I mean, for us to come to an agreement with him, it has to be good for us. I mean, that's the bottom line.
And we will not be running it.
Right, we wouldn't,
It wouldn't.
other than the rent itself,
Right.
we would not benefit or lose. We would just get a set amount of rent, and then if he's making great money or losing money, that's not on us. We're gonna get our rent, and that's what we care about.
Right. I'd like to make a motion to approve or enter into an agreement with J&L Beach LLC, J Beach personally, to open to use a section of the property located at Deer Trace Pro Shop to sell golf equipment.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right, we're gonna move on to open forum.
Oh, okay, sorry.
We have, a member here, her name is Marlene McCrill. We'd like her to come up, she's got something to tell you, or ask you, or to say, I don't know which it is.
Good morning. My name is Marlena McCrill. I've been a certified Montessori teacher for over 25 years. The reason that's important is because I'm considering purchasing some of the commercial lots between Ullery and Ash. Is it Ullery or Ullery? Ullery and Ash. To hopefully make a small preschool. As our community grows here, I've lived here almost 4 years, and I've noticed that there's a real need for not only daycare but preschool. The only preschool we really have is Little Buffs, which is in the grade school, and it only holds 24 children. Now, I'm starting my homework here. I don't know the stats on how many children are within our community full-time at that age. I do know that Lacine has 3 care providers, and they are strictly daycare, which is great. Daycare is awesome. But some folks would like the opportunity for their children to be in preschool, and I would offer a Montessori preschool curriculum. And I'm trying to get it down to what, at a very low affordable cost. As more families come in here, I believe we've grown 25% in just the last year, which at first was horrifying to me because I moved here for country and nature and all of that. However, fact is, it's going to happen whether I want it to or not. So some of these families may be younger families, and they may actually have the children. I know we had 50-ish children at the fishing tournament. We had 50-ish children at the arts and crafts. Now, of course, some of those probably were the same children, but definitely not all of them. So you're looking at least at about 50 children. Now, most of them, at least some of them, this is where I need your help, are just visitors coming to visit Grandma, Grandpa. You know, and my granddaughter's here this weekend visiting. But some of them may live here as well. Now, having a preschool, and it's be near the lake shop, would help our community for anyone who needs care. And it helps the children because they don't have to have those long drives. Anyone who's had to ride for more than 20 minutes in a car with a 2-year-old or 3-year-old, you understand that it's a lot. And it's a lot, it wears a lot on their little psyches to have to drive into town. Some folks are driving 30, 45 to an hour to get the children to school and then go to work. Having them closer to home and a safe, quality environment, I feel will be really beneficial to us, and hopefully we could grow. I'm not looking to grow into a huge school or what have you, but at least offer quality care for our kiddos. Could offer some jobs to a community, definitely help some parents out. I've lived here almost 4 years. In that time, I've worked so many hours in the city that I've missed the opportunity for the reason I moved here. I moved here for the nature, you know, for the birds. I live right, I butt up right against the cow pasture. I hang out with the cows when I can in the morning, have a cup of coffee. But what was happening was I was working so many hours. I was teaching for 8 hours, and then to supplement the gas that it took me to get there and back, I was teaching an art class 3 nights a week. So by the time I would do all of these things and I'd get home, I was leaving at dark and coming home at dark. And I'm missing out on this beautiful place. I would like to be here. I asked the City Hall, and I've asked the POA and most people, however, I did not address this board. I currently am just received my license to do an in-home childcare here within Lynn Valley. I hope that's okay with everyone. They've approved me, but I'm waiting on the state fire marshal. The thing is, I have lots of folks who are really interested. I've devoted an entire half or more of my home to turning it into a classroom. I have a classroom with Montessori materials. I also have a playroom. My breezeway is an outdoor classroom, and then I have a playground, a back play yard with swing sets and things like that. Incorporating just total respect of the child and the Montessori. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Montessori or not, but in a nutshell, it's respect of the child and allowing them to work through hands-on materials at their own pace. So you might have 3-year-olds who are reading and 5-year-olds just learning their first sounds, but they have a prepared environment with beautiful materials that they're interested in to help them grow and thrive. I've had some interest in that. I've had about 6 families visit, all of which were very interested, all of which did not have the funds. I have lowered my prices twice, and I'm included part-time, so I don't know that it's going to be successful in my home. Making a preschool between Bueller and Ash would benefit me so I could enjoy this beautiful community we have. It would help me know the people that live here, help me help those people, also offer it to the outside, like the Lake Shop also offers to Lynn Valley, Pleasanton, Mound City, the people who are all rolling through here. I don't know where to start other than to talk to you. I know I feel like I need the board's approval. I don't know the logistics of all of that part, and I'm just now starting to do homework. So I'd love your opinion, your advice, and anything else you have to let me know.
Pam,
Thank
I
you.
don't know that she would need our approval if she
Really, I mean,
buys a
to
commercial
give your
property.
blessing of her concept, I think, more or less.
Well, thank you.
I mean, yes.
I think that would be all that's required. Have you gotten a license through the city?
Yes, I am licensed through KDHE.
Through the city?
Oh, through
Of Lynn
the
Valley.
city of
Is
Lynn
city
Valley.
business.
City of Lynn, so what I've done is I've gone through this vicious circle of City of Lynn Valley says talk to Lynn Valley Lakes. I talk to Lynn Valley Lakes, they say talk to the city. So I've been doing this for about a year, and I've decided that, yeah, everybody, so then I talk to KDHE. So the answer to your question is no, and I need to write that down to
Because
figure.
I thought you had to have a license through the city
A
of
city
Lynn
business
Valley.
license, a business license, not a
Not a
daycare license.
Right.
Now, for the preschool, I would. For
Yes.
the in-home care, is that what you're talking about?
It's over.
They said, and I forget the gal's name, I apologize, I don't have it written down. But they said I just needed to get licensed through KDHE and make sure, you know, as long as they're happy and the fire marshal is happy, then we are good to go. And I'm awaiting, the fire marshal called me on Friday, I missed his call, and I'll be returning his call on Monday. But I will definitely look into that, I don't have a problem with that.
I
So-
might speak into this as well,
Yes.
because I know she's looking at the lots that I have listed up at the front. It does not have outside access to them.
Which she would have to put that in.
There, if I were to buy your lots, hello, I'm Marlena. I know Bailey's reached out to you. If I were to buy your lots, I would have to go to the board and ask for, permission for access road, because the 3 lots are between, okay, if you're at the lake lot, that's Ash, and it curves around to the maintenance, road. I don't know the name of that.
I know where you're talking
Well,
about, it's
the
right by
maintenance
Lake
road
Shop.
that they put in
yeah.
that gravel road to go to the maintenance to bring the trucks in and out.
Where the skid shed buildings are.
Thank you.
Yes.
That road that curves around and hits the lake shop, right now, there's currently sheds and barns and little homes that are for sale, on those lots, and then her lots run right around that next curve. There is not a road, and there is not street access. I would have to ask if we could get street access.
I don't know how you do
Otherwise,
it from
I
the
am planning
outside
to
because
go.
that lot is landlocked.
As I say, it's
Correct.
POA-owned land behind it.
Correct.
That you guys, that it's just owned by the POA. If
And
she were to have
an
access, just an easement access road, and then of course fence it, because we don't want it outside, anyone from the outside to be able to come in.
Right.
I mean, get into the community, just add lake, or access from the road on the POA-owned land right there.
My suggestion would be is if you could put together some kind of a plan and bring it to us, we would better be able to say, we bless this and think it's great, or we approve it, or whatever. But without having a plan,
I understand that.
it would be difficult to say yes or no.
Okay, and now, the other thing is, I've been contemplating the thought of the, overpriced $50,000 lot, because it already butts up and it is already, it is currently zoned for residential, but it's be an easy flip to, commercial. And this would be not immediately, I purchased the land almost immediately, but the funds for this building, the school itself, I'm applying for grants and things like that, so that's, we're about a year down the road. So one, are there a lot of children around here, within our community that you are aware of or not? Two, would you be interested in, first of all, are you okay with me having a home, childcare? And, then of course, the next one is to get a preschool, right next to the lake shop. Those are my questions.
I don't, personally, I think it'd be a great idea, especially as our community continues to grow. I can't tell you how many children are here and how many children would need, daycare, but it would be nice for the parents to be able to drive into town without having to take their kids and drive 30 to 40 to 50 minutes in one way and back every day. I just don't know that I can personally answer your questions. Like I said, if we had a plan as to how you would get those people, so our gate guard wasn't having to let people from outside of the community
That
in
was a question I
and
had.
things
Thank
like
you.
that.
Now, I have a code, like when you scroll down to my name, McGrill, and it gives people 5771, is that, oh, sorry. Come on over. I guess we're all here anyway.
That would call the phone number
Yeah.
that is established to your account.
Right.
And I just push my little button each morning is how I had planned to
And you would
take
push
care
9.
of that.
The
yes.
only other way would be for you to get the phone app and send them an
Yeah, no,
app.
I would just plan on, because when I have visitors, for instance, I had my past students, in July, I had several of my past students, I had about 30 kiddos out there between 6th grade and preschool that came to see Miss Marlena and hang out on her birthday at the pool, and they just hit 5771, so all morning I was pushing my little phone to let them in. I do apologize for the phone ringing and blinging, and it's brand new, and I was trying to turn it off, and the more I tried to turn it off, the more noise it made, so I'm sorry about that.
But yeah, definitely I would, talk to the community, more of the community and explore it a little bit more and see.
Before I purchased that big chunk of land, especially since they're, if I can't get the easement, and I don't know what are the odds of that, because I would prefer to do that, because it backs up to the green space, and kids would, really benefit from that. However, the 50,000 is really overpriced, but my mother was very excited about it and wants to purchase it, and I said, before we make a huge purchase like that, let's find out if it's something that you guys are, interested in.
Now, I believe those properties, Pam was just saying, and I agree, those properties probably are gonna back up to the contractor's lot that we were talking about
That's what
earlier.
I was taking notes on the farmland, I was like, is that the farmland you were
No.
discussing?
No, that's other
The
farmland,
contract, okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry, okay.
But there's a contractor's lot right up by the maintenance shop, just north of the maintenance shop.
So let's do this, if I were to buy the 50,000 that's right there that is commercial, that is not landlocked between Ullery and Ash, I think it's 22 Ash. Would that be something that everyone is okay with?
Like I said, we would have to see a written plan.
I think we'd have to have more
Yeah,
details,
we
but,
need to have
but,
some kind of a
and you could,
To be a
drawing
pretty
plan.
well, and you could certainly, I mean, not to muddy the water, but if you were gonna make an offer on that property, you could certainly make the offer contingent upon approval of zoning or access or whatever that is. Shelley could certainly help you with that verbiage, to where you were protected, that you weren't obligated if you couldn't get the needed permitting.
Okay, so, okay, I would be very interested in talking with you about, especially the, just a little access road. One other thing before kind of, is I back up to the cow pasture back on Greenwood Lane. And that is a huge easement area, and I was wondering if I heard someone say something about easement release or something. Is there a way to get permission to use some of that for the children to run around on?
You can use it without permission, can't you?
Can we fence it without permission?
I don't know about that.
Without putting,
No.
the fencing is not going to be,
Dennis?
the fencing is not going to
That would
be
be
in the
POA.
ground concreted,
It's
it's going to be
That's
secure.
POA common property, then it
Yeah,
would have to
it's-
come from the board.
It's common property.
It is. That's
Yeah,
it.
it runs off the whole around the whole Lynn
There's-
Lakes.
It starts, I'm not sure if they're called building or multipurpose, but they're right at the corner. It turns into camping lots, and there's only a space between, maybe about 10 lots, and it goes straight into the lake. So if there were going to be a road ever, there'd be no reason for it, because there's one that goes right in front, there's one that goes on the side, and there's one that goes on the other side. So I was just curious.
Can you draw us up a plan?
Thank you, I would do
Give
that.
us an idea? Thank you.
Yes,
That
I
would
will.
help.
When's
That
the
would
next
help.
meeting?
Next, third Saturday of the month.
You can email your stuff.
Or
in
you can
the
email it.
website
Okay.
For us to start looking at. You
Doug,
don't have
Doug.
to wait till the meeting.
I appreciate your time.
Thank
Melinda,
you.
I just wanted to say,
Yeah, yeah.
both my kids did Montessori, it was a great experience, it was so good that we did actually drive 30 minutes in New York to continue that, out to New York, so, great experience, hope it goes well.
Thank you very much. And I have, if anybody's interested in what Montessori is, I have some pamphlets here that kind of in a nutshell explain it. I'll just put them over here if you're interested. Great. If not, that's fine too. And I also have, this is my home care. If you want to just even just look at it, you can. And then just leave it down because of people who really want it. And then, if you want one ticket. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Does anybody here have any comments, questions, or concerns before I adjourn the meeting? Yes, Doug?
Andrew texted me, the open fishing is the 8th and 9th, not the 9th and 10th, so Monday, Tuesday. He also pointed out that the sun is slowing down, so we're gonna move it to 6:30 in the morning and 5:30 in the afternoon for 3 hours on that. So 8th and 9th, Monday, Tuesday of September.
Doug, will you
For
get
what
us
hours
something
again,
that we
Doug?
can post on Facebook about that,
Sure.
please?
Yeah.
Just a flyer of some sort?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody like to,
So people
I
know
make a
that's the
motion to
Monday after
adjourn
Labor
for
Day.
more questions.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
See you guys all next month. Thank you for coming.